India here in Frankfurt, Honorable State Secretary Straube, representatives from City of Frankfurt, City of Hesse, Ahaka, Ihaka, Goethe Institute, TELC, Federal Ministry of Labor, and our former Secretary of Economic Relations, Ambassador Rahul Chabra, and several others who have traveled from India, panelists, speakers, and my dear colleagues and friends, a very good evening to all of you. Since the day I came and joined in Germany, one topic that has always been of importance and interest to both Germans and Indians was migration and mobility partnership. So we were always wanting to have an event, and we want to plan it well and host it in a very prestigious place. That is how we chose this place. If you broadly see India-Germany strategic partnership, it is anchored on 5 pillars. It's trade and investment, defense and security, migration and mobility, climate and clean energy, innovation and technology. So I will give few pointers on migration and mobility. Again, since the day I joined here, every meeting that you go, there would be 2 challenges that people speak about in Germany. One is the lack of skilled manpower, and the other is digitalization. The rough figure that people quote is 1.2 million vacancies are there in Germany. And this will only increase in the coming years with more people resigning or retiring, and also the newcomers who may not take up these traditional jobs. Since 2023, India is the largest country in the planet. That also means that we are the largest human resource on the planet, with an average age of 28 compared to that of 50 in Germany. This has also provided a lot of opportunities for us. We are the fastest growing large economy on the planet. And today, a lot of professionals in India are looking at India to grow their career progression. To just give you an example, around 330 companies in India went public in 2024. More companies will go public this year compared to 1 company in Germany. So that also shows that the growth rate that we have been undergoing, and we have been growing around 6 to 8% of GDP in the past 2 decades. And also we have around 1.5 million engineers who graduate every year. Many aspire to go abroad and get international exposure, but many also want to go to US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, which are English-speaking countries. And also, if you see from the German perspective, it's not that though there are 1.2 million vacancies, it's not that everybody is welcome. Once you have to fit into that job, you have to know the work culture, you have to know the language. So even if somebody is interested, there are also challenges and requirements to fulfill. India was the first country with which Germany signed the Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement in 2022. Since then, a lot of institutional mechanisms have started. There is a reason for it. We are 36 million Indians living outside India. Wherever we have gone, we have added value to that country. We are a democracy and we believe in rule of law. We have strong family values and work ethics. So one of the German ministers I met in Berlin said that Indians could celebrate Diwali and also can be an active participant in Oktoberfest. I think that puts... So when it comes to students, today Indians are the largest cohort of international students in Germany. We are around 50,000 students, and most of them go to STEM subjects, that is engineering or technology. And many of the universities, top universities in Germany which offer free education, have their offices in India to hunt for the best talents and bring them here. So one of our common friends, one of mine and Javaji's common friend called Prabhanjan, put it this way, that if India is my motherland, then Germany is my fatherland. So that is how you bring as a student and they assimilate here, and many of them stay here. As I told, like there are 1.5 million engineers who graduate from India every year compared to 40,000 in Germany. This has resulted in mushrooming of global capability centers in India. Today we have 1,600 global capability centers, which generate a revenue of 120 billion US dollars every year. Mercedes, which started with 40 people, have now 10,000 people in their global capability center. Bosch has 20,000 people in its global capability center. Today, we have become a hub of global talent. Few more points to validate my case. Germany issued 2 million visas in 2024, 1.5 million Schengen, and rest is national visa. 200,000 plus visas were issued to Indians, that is roughly 10%, and of which 64,000 are national visas and 144,000 are Schengen visas. The number of students visas issued to Indians in 2024 is 24,000 compared to 12,000 in 2021. The number of Indians employed mostly as professionals and in the IT area is 155,000, and this number is growing. What do we aim to get from this workshop is, there is a lot of enthusiasm among Germans, among Indians, but that there is also a lot of confusion. There is no policy insights, like people would love to know from the Germans, from the institutions, what are the policy insights, how do we take this interest forward. Among Germans, they speak about the triple win, where the sending country, the receiving country, and the individual, all of them should be in a win-win-win position. And this is what we aim to do here, to understand it better. And we also would hope that more people will see this through social media also. We will also have an opportunity to network. And finally, I also know that there are many companies here which want to introduce themselves. If time permits, we would also give you a 1-minute pitch. And before I invite State Secretary Straube, I would say that if we say Germany as a gateway to Europe, then Hesse is the gateway to Germany. We have the European Central Bank here, the Fraport, and several other financial banks here. There are 650 Indian companies in Germany. 330 of them are in the Frankfurt Rhine-Main region. So we know how important Hesse is. And Hesse is also facing a shortage of manpower. We see that, we hear this always.
Sehr geehrter Herr Generalkonsul, verehrter Mr. Mubarak, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, herzlichen Dank für die heutige Einladung zu diesem tollen Event, zu diesem tollen Workshop, zu dieser spannenden Veranstaltung. Und im Namen der Landesregierung mit Ministerin Hofmann darf ich Ihnen die herzlichsten Grüße überbringen und meiner Kollegin Staatssekretärin Hechler, die für Migration und Integration zuständig ist. Und das Thema des heutigen Events, Mobility und Migration, könnte nicht aktueller sein und steht bei der hessischen Landesregierung ganz weit oben auf der Agenda. Mobilität und Migration prägen das Zeitalter der Globalisierung, in dem wir momentan leben. Und wir alle erleben turbulente Zeiten mit immensen Herausforderungen und dynamischen Veränderungen von Wirtschaft, Arbeitswelt und Gesellschaft. Und hier in Deutschland macht sich vor allem der demografische Wandel in allen Bereichen bemerkbar. Und bis zum Jahr 2030 fehlen uns 240.000 Fachkräfte und Arbeitskräfte, was ein enorm großes Problem für uns darstellt. Und unsere geburtenstarken Jahrgänge, wir nennen sie die sogenannten Babyboomer, werden in den nächsten Jahren aus dem Berufsleben ausscheiden und neue Arbeitskräfte in der gleichen Anzahl werden leider nicht nachkommen. Aber auch die Dekarbonisierung oder die Digitalisierung können entscheidende Faktoren nicht außer Acht gelassen werden. Aber es reicht nicht, dass es sich am Ende des Tages miteinander aufhebt. Und jetzt betrifft schon der Personalmangel alle Branchen. Und wir können nicht sagen, dass eine Branche besonders betroffen ist, sondern mittlerweile betrifft es alle Branchen hier in Deutschland, aber auch hier insbesondere in Hessen. Und deswegen freue ich mich sehr über die Zusammenarbeit, um unser gemeinsames Projekt, was wir mit vielen Partnerinnen und Partnern auf den Weg bringen wollen. Und hierzu ist ja so gesagt heute auch nochmal ein Auftakt. Und alle Regionen in Hessen, Landkreise und kreisfreien Städte sind vom Fach- und zunehmend auch vom Arbeitskräftemangel weit betroffen. Nordhessen, Mittelhessen, Südhessen. Sie haben es eben angesprochen mit dem Rhein-Main-Gebiet, mit der Fraport oder auch mit dem Bankensektor. Aber es gibt noch viele andere Branchen hier in ganz Hessen, die gleichermaßen davon betroffen sind. Die pädagogischen Berufe, die Sozialberufe, die Gesundheit, die Pflege, aber auch das Handwerk, insbesondere auch die IT und die Logistikbranche. In allen Branchen haben wir die Probleme. Aber Hessen ist ein starker Wirtschaftsstandort und hier werden Tradition und Moderne gleichermaßen miteinander gelebt. Und damit das so bleibt und unsere Wirtschaft auch stark bleibt, die Verwaltung und die Gesellschaft, brauchen wir kompetente Arbeitsfach- und Führungskräfte sowie wettbewerbsfähige Arbeitgeber an der Stelle, damit wir weiter einen starken Standort hier in Hessen haben. Und nachhaltige Fach- und Arbeitskräftesicherung ist eine der größten gesamtgesellschaftlichen Herausforderungen. Ich habe es gerade angekündigt. Und dieses Thema hat bei uns in der Landesregierung auf der Zielmarke, ist sie ganz oben angesiedelt. Und wir als Arbeitsministerium und Sozialministerium haben diesbezüglich extra eine Stabsstelle Fachkräftesicherung ins Leben gerufen, um dort zu schauen, wie die Prozesse sind und was man an der Stelle verbessern könnte. Und ein spezieller Fokus liegt dabei auf der Gewinnung von Talenten mit internationalem Hintergrund. Wir haben den Zukunftskonvent ins Leben gerufen, an dem Sie ja auch teilweise beteiligt sind, um zu schauen, wie wir noch besser werden können, damit man nicht ein Jahr lang warten muss, wenn man sich vom Ausland ins Inland bewirbt. Das ist wirklich ein großes Problem für uns und wir dort an der Stelle schneller werden. Und ich glaube, wir sind alle weltoffen, international, traditionell, modern, historisch und das alles ist Hessen und darüber hinaus viel mehr. Und was uns besonders wichtig ist, ist, dass wenn wir die Fachkräfte und Arbeitskräfte hier nach Deutschland und nach Hessen holen, nach Nord-, Mittel- und Südhessen holen, dass man sich auch neben seiner Arbeit wohlfühlt. Und deswegen sind wir dabei, die Welcome Center hier in Hessen auszubauen. Wir haben ein großes Welcome Center hier in Frankfurt. Das werden wir nochmal auf neue Füße stellen, ab nächstes Jahr noch weitere Kooperationspartner dafür gewinnen. Wir haben jetzt das Welcome Center in Mittelhessen eingerichtet und zum Ende des Jahres bekommen wir auch nochmal ein Welcome Center in Nordhessen, sodass man hierher kommt und dort auch gut beraten wird, insbesondere auch die Familien gut beraten werden. Und später wird ja noch Frau Bennemann-Karama zu hören sein. Ich weiß gar nicht, wo sie hier sitzt im Publikum, die noch mal mehr zu den Weltkampfcentern sagen kann. Aber es geht um ganz lebenspraktische Themen. Wie ist das Schulsystem hier? Wo bekomme ich den Kindergartenplatz? Oder ich möchte mich vielleicht noch mal in eine andere Stadt orientieren. Und ich glaube, das ist wichtig, um sich hier wohlzufühlen, dass man nicht nur wegen der Arbeit hierher kommt, sondern auch wegen dem anderen. Und ich bin sehr, sehr dankbar dafür, dass wir Indien als ein Fokusland ausgesucht haben und dort uns auch schon mit der Community getroffen haben, mit der Community aus Darmstadt, die uns auch behilflich dabei sein wollen, wie die Freizeit gestaltet werden konnte, weil Arbeit von Montag bis Freitag und was mache ich drumherum, wie fühle ich mich hier wohl, was kann ich tun, treibe ich Sport, mache ich gerne Musik, gehe ich gerne ins Theater oder mache ich sonst was gerne, das soll alles noch mit in unserem Prozess an der Stelle einfließen. Und deswegen freue ich mich abschließend auf die gemeinsame Zusammenarbeit und glaube, dass das am Ende des Tages einfach super werden wird. Und wir freuen uns auf die Fach- und Arbeitskräfte aus Indien. Herzlichen Dank.
So yeah, spontaneously, I'm trying to summarize everything. Of course, to the topic mobility and migration, there was obviously a discussion that we are facing a lot of challenges currently with that, and till 2030, there'll be even more demand of more skilled workers. So the in North, Central, and South Hessen, all these parts of Hessen, there'll be demand of skilled workers. The industries that were named were mainly social professions, nursing, of course, that we even currently have, IT, in all these fields. And that's why we also need the competent employers, the Arbeitgeber. That's also very important. And it's one of the priority topic for the state government right now. They are looking into it. And the focus is basically hiring talent who has international background. And she also mentioned that, the visa processes and all, they don't want people to wait for a year just to get the visa. So when we talk about migration of skilled workers, is also making those processes effective and fast. And another important point that was mentioned was welcome centers. So they are setting up big welcome centers in South, North, and Central. All two of the centers are already active. So the point is, when the skilled workers come, the families of the skilled workers also get consultation or guidance in terms of, for example, how they spend their time on weekends. Because when you talk about skilled workers, they will come here and work, but what about their families? How will their children get to school? So all these kind of guidance will be available at these welcome centers. So this is one of the topics that they have. So it's basically not just work, but also taking care of the families of the skilled workers. Yeah, so at the end, they are looking forward for skilled workers from India. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Consul Murak, for organizing the event, for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. Yes, so I have a presentation. Okay, next slide. Yes, so again, a little bit about the labor shortage. This is nothing new for anyone. There are a lot of people missing in Germany. For a lot of companies, we see 42% in the service sector and 25% in the manufacturing sector. More and more people will retire in the upcoming year, what we also just heard. And these gaps need to be filled from people who come in from outside. We see that the foreign employees, the numbers are going up, 4.9% in 2024. And I don't have the figure for Indians, but I'm pretty sure Indians are the majority that is going up right now. We know that the consulates and embassies in India are issuing more and more visas every year for employment over here. Now, on the German side, we have the Skilled Immigration Act, Fachkräfteeinwanderungsgesetz. It was introduced in 2020, and we had some updates about it in 2023 to allow even more migration to Germany. It's based around showing that you are a skilled professional. So in German, this would be Fachkraft. I call it skilled professional. You can show this by showing that you have a qualification that compares to a German degree or vocational education. You can show that you're a skilled professional by showing relevant experience for the job that you want to work in, or you can show that you have potential for the German labor market and come to Germany on something like a job seeker visa, the Chancenkarte. Now, it's important to note that the salary of anyone who's hired from abroad has to be in line with what a local person would earn in the same profession in the same region. So the Migration Act makes sure that we don't pay anybody worse only because they're coming in from abroad. And also the law is written in a way that we don't have quotas, that we don't have a restriction that only people can come who work in shortages profession, but anybody who's skilled and who gets a job offer is welcome to come to Germany and work over here. Now, I want to talk about what does it mean to have fair, ethical, and sustainable migration. It's important that the migration not only follows the legal laws, but is also done in an ethical and fair manner. Fair migration means that the applicants know what they're getting into, that they're well informed before they come, that they're not exploited, and that there are also not excessive fees for them. Yeah. A lot of Indians want to come to Germany and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get over here, and that includes sometimes paying horrendous sums to be recruited to end up over here. that shouldn't be done. In that sense, the person that is coming is being exploited. It's also important that the qualifications are recognized fairly and their experience is valued. We had a case of a candidate who had an optometry degree from India and was working as an optometrist, Augenoptiker. And then he really wanted to come to Germany, and the private recruiter told him the only way to come to Germany is doing a vocational education as a nurse, Ausbildung als Krankenpfleger, which is basically sending this person 5 steps back in their career just for them to come to Germany. And of course, nothing was illegal. This person can come to Germany and do vocational education as a nurse, but this is not helping anyone. So part of the ethical migration, the fair migration, is to really see what has this person done. India has great education system. There are very valuable educations and work experience that we also want to have on the German labor market, contributing with what they've already learned in Germany. It's also important that they have the same access to the rights that local workers have. Integration also really, really crucial. The idea is really that the people come to Germany, integrate here, become part of the society. The idea is not that they come here, work, and then go back home. And also, even if they want to go back home, they should be integrated well. At the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, we also know that people who have some work experience in Germany and then come back to India, also really valuable there on the labor market. There are a lot of German companies in India who would love to hire somebody like that. What we need more of is zero placement fees for migrants. I know this is a little bit of a controversial topic. A lot of people will say like, no, but they need some skin in the game. They need to be dedicated. That's why we have to charge them. There are models where you can have a deposit. There are also models where you can say, what we did is a model where we would pay a stipend, and only if they show up to the German classes, they get the stipend. If they miss out classes, they don't get the stipend. And I think it's important to see that only because somebody is willing to pay, it doesn't mean that we should charge them. And also this goes into the direction of the German employers. It's effort for this person from India to learn German, to come to Germany. What we also need more of is digital tools and also multilingual tools, not only for the candidates in India. I know there's a lot of information on Make It in Germany, which I think is a great portal, but it's primarily in English, and we can't reach everyone in India with that, so it would be great if there could be also more regional languages and Hindi and other languages. And also the same goes for employers. For a lot of small, medium-sized companies, they've never hired somebody from abroad. They don't know what they're doing before they have the person coming over to Germany. Language training also is something that employers should support and make accessible for people that come to Germany. Social integration is important, local networks are really important, but the Indians also want to connect with the German. I was doing a workshop the other day, and I was telling about all the great Indian networks that are there in Germany, and they all told me, no, I have already so many Indian friends, please tell me where can I meet the Germans? I want to get in touch with the Germans. And overall, we need to see that the migrants are here to become part of the German economy, and we need to treat them as a stakeholder in the process and not as an external source. Okay, now I'm quickly going to introduce our projects. We have Pro-Recognition. This is an information office for employment migration to Germany. So we support any working professional who wants to go to Germany through, for example, the recognition process, but we also support with the visa questions. It is a very bureaucratic process. We are fully aware about that. But Pro-Recognition, for example, is one of the offices somebody can turn to without any fees to get information for the migration to Germany. We don't charge anything. We are funded by the Education Ministry, and we get per year around 1,000 requests for personal consultation, which is more than what we can handle. But we also managed to build up a database of people who are interested to migrate to Germany, who are actively looking for jobs, and most of them already started learning German. At the moment, it's around 3,500 people. And yeah, so this service is free. We also have a website with a lot of information where anybody from India who's interested in migration to Germany can inform themselves. And because we're talking about skilled migration, we're talking about people. I have a success story. This is Prem. He has worked as a physiotherapist in India. This is also important to note. We always talk about healthcare sector having a big gap. This is not just nurses coming from India. This is also physiotherapists, lab technicians that we also need. This is also doctors, dentists, and pharmacists. that are coming from India to Germany, which we also support through pro-recognition. He came to us in May 2021 when he was in the B2 German course, so he already had invested a lot of time before he came to us. We supported with the recognition process. He first applied in Baden-Württemberg, but then it got really complicated there with the documents, so he withdrew his application there, applied again in NRW, and then he received full recognition and a job offer. He said the best job offer he got was from a company in Hessen. So we helped him shift his application from NRW to Hessen, and he moved here in January 2024. He's living happily ever after. He's speaking really, really good German now and is really happy with his choices. Yes. Then the other project that we have is Hand in Hand for National Talents. There we support skilled professionals from Vietnam, India, and Brazil in the migration journey. It's a recruitment project. It's an end-to-end process where we really select candidates, prepare them for Germany, bring them together with the German companies, and also through IHKs in different regions, support them with the integration. We have no participation charges for participants, but there are fees for the companies who want to recruit candidates. And all the profiles that we have in Hand are online. Companies can see the profiles and see if they're interested to invite some candidate for an interview. We then support with online interview and through any step in that whole migration journey. And yes, so the contact for companies here vary IHKs in Germany. They also have a success story. He's Taron. He joined Hand in March 2022. He participated in the German classes, so Hand in Hand was funding the German course for him. He learned from absolutely no German skills until B1 level and got a partial recognition as an electrician. He participated in workshops, so we also have a lot of preparation workshops, pre-integration, pre-departure preparation, and he then got an online interview with the company in October 2023. Then he got 2 months later, got a job offer, also just for you to see. We have companies and they interview people and then we don't hear anything for month on end until they actually decide somebody hiring. That is also an issue that the migration process, of course, makes the migration process even longer if companies take so much time to decide. And he then applied for visa in February 2024 and came over here and is now close to Erfurt in Thuringia. Yeah. Okay. Then I want to get to a few challenges, hurdles on the way. We have the interest from the Indian side, so we have the supply. We also know that the German companies have a demand. Why haven't we reached happily ever after yet? There's still the language that is a bottleneck. Deutsche Sprache, schwere Sprache. We have a different level of expectation also that are sometimes regulatory. So sometimes the law says the person doesn't need any German skills to get a visa. But the company will say like, but for this person to do their job well, we of course need fluent German skills. So we see there's a big gap there. And it's also incredibly difficult sometimes for candidates to finance, to invest into their future and invest into a German course. And we also hear from some companies that they would need context-specific, profession-specific German levels, German skills, which is really difficult because we have teachers in India that teach great German, but they wouldn't know electrical parts of an engine. Who's going to be there to teach this context-specific, profession-specific German skills? The recognition of qualification is done on a handmade case-by-case basis. So if we have a batch of 10 people that have the same qualification from India that go to the same company in Germany, we would still look at each person individually and compare each paper to the German standards, which is of course a little bit inefficient. And what makes it even more complicated is that we have different recognition authorities depending on the states, depending on the profession, and also where the person wants to go in Germany. That makes it really complex, not just for the candidates, also for employers to understand. The integration sometimes is inconsistent. Again, we have small, medium-sized companies that hire somebody from abroad for the first time. I had a company that wrote very nicely to the candidate in English the job offer that they were going to give them, but they put the figure in the way we write it in German, which is a comma is a dot and a dot is a comma. So then the candidates called me and were like, how will I survive in Germany on €2.60? This is way too little for me to get by. It is a process. The German companies are trying hard, but I mean, they're at the beginning of the journey, I think, sometimes. We have a fragmentation. We have different actors. We have different ministries responsible for skilled migration. We have the Länder, then we have other institutions. And sometimes it feels like we are involved in different sectors, different ministries do different things. And what is also really difficult that we lack a long-term, reliable way to plan. We have no forecasting for the profession. It's really difficult to say, okay, in the next 3 years, how many electricians will we need in this region? We are doing very much recruitment that is ad hoc, depending on the demand in that very moment, without planning like long-term ahead. Yes. And then just to look a little bit upwards, outlook. The migration is about trust. We do need the trust between the companies, the trust that the skilled people that are coming in from India are up to the mark, are able to do the job that they will have. But we also need the trust between the countries, Germany and India, and between the different institutions. We know that the labor shortage will prevail. So even if we talk a little bit about an economic downturn, the labor shortage is not going to go anywhere. It will still be there in the next years. So it makes sense to start planning ahead long term. We also want to build a sustainable system. As mentioned by Honorable Consul, it should be a win-win-win situation for all actors involved and not just for one of the actors. And also, I see that other European countries are also looking now at opening up and improving their migration laws. And I think the Indo-German corridor could set an example there for the other countries to come.
Thank you so very much for having me today, dear colleagues. I am here to speak a little bit about the skilled migration strategy that the German government had actually put forward over the past years. I know that there has been a lot of comments already mentioned about our cooperation, so I think I'm going to be skipping a few of the slides, so please don't mind that. And I will be diving in almost immediately. Just to start off, as has already been mentioned, we are having a massive demographic crisis. Crisis is perhaps a little bit of an extreme statement, but still we are having a massive demographic shift. As is already mentioned, here there are a few numbers about what is indeed happening in Germany and why we are taking so much care as to the sector-specific consequences. So we do need a lot of skilled migrants currently also in the nursing sector, in the IT sector, in the green tech sector, just to name a few as I move forward. The rest has already been mentioned, so let's jump forward. We already know why India is such a deep partner for us. We already see that with the amount of new workers joining the Indian labor market, it has been confirmed to us that there will be no brain drain when we are working with India. That's why India has also been targeted as a focus country. And as has already been mentioned, the MMPA signed with India was the first for the German government, so you can also see the symbolic value that this actually inclines. Here are some of the numbers with regards to the value added, indeed, as mentioned by the consul earlier, of Indians who are working in Germany. But please excuse me, I'm going to be skipping these a few since I have just 10 minutes time to be speaking. So I'm going to jump directly into what precisely the German government has been doing. But just as I'm skipping, you can see a few of the numbers as to why Indian skilled migrants, but also students, are important to us. With regards to the triple win, it's been spoken, but here I now come to the measures of the German government over the past years and what this actually entails. So first and foremost, the idea with the skilled migration strategy was to ensure that we have two objectives that are fulfilled. On the one hand was the legal framework. So that is something that has been worked on over the past 4 years, as is already also been mentioned lightly. On the first side, we had the liberalization of the migration law, which also took place or is in force now since June 2024. We had the update of the blue card regulations, expanding it to IT professionals, but also lowering the threshold for the salary requirements. We had the introduction of the Chancenkarte, as has also been mentioned. We have the application of the Berufserfahrungsregelung, so the work experience regulation, which is also applicable to all professions under particular specifics that also has to be fulfilled. We have the vocational training aspect with the labor migration for apprentices. We have the flexibilization of regulations for students also with regards to the working conditions. So students are now also allowed to engage in part-time employment during their studies. So as you can see, there has been quite considerable movement also in the legal frameworks that the government has been undertaking, especially also our ministry, in order to encourage skilled migration on this particular department. But of course, the second aspect was the broader framework. And the broader framework for successful migration also entails the placement and matching. It entails the language support. It requires the qualification recognition and the welcome culture. So there I also have a few things to say. So to begin with, what has the German government been doing? Before I speak about this, I encourage also everyone to please read the Skilled Migration Act of India, which was actually released from our side, because there are a lot of specifics that I also encourage you to look up. A lot perhaps is not known. I will introduce a few today, but I also encourage truly that everyone goes through it and knows that this exists. So for starters, we have the effective matching. So as you can see, we are expanding programs to match in place Indian skilled workers in Germany, as a few have already been mentioned from different ministries. We are also working with promoting the German language. We understand the challenges. I'm sure a lot will be mentioned today again, but we are aware of this and we are working on it. We are working on the streamlining of recognition procedures. As you can see, we have already the work experience regulation, which is easing some of the process. Also, this is something we are very much aware of and we are working on. We have the visa process, which was also one of the hurdles, but that is also been worked on. We are digitizing that area, but also we are expediting the process. So we are also scaling up, as you perhaps are aware of over the past years. And this is not without the welcome culture. As has already been mentioned, all the states are also working very hard to make sure that this particular culture of welcomeness is available and accessible to as many people as possible, to show that we are not just stating in our policies that we want skilled migrants, but we are also going the extra mile to actually implement this. And not to forget, we are working very closely with the Indian government in order to ensure that any hurdles that are actually brought up are also addressed as soon as possible and also are dealt with. So I am currently from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, so I would like to also speak on what precisely we are doing in order to showcase where we stand. Our main engagement was indeed through the contribution of the FAG, but also in our work with the MMPA. So we are working very closely with the Indian government, and there we are also having our own different meetings, which we are very much engaged in. Simultaneously, we are working very closely with the Auswärtiges Amt, so the Federal Foreign Office, in the working group for migration. We are also working on a study which was actually brought up about the global skills framework, which was actually initiated during the G20 presidency of India. And we are very much looking forward also to the results that we are going to be getting on this. And simultaneously, of course, we are working with the BA, so the Federal Employment Agency, who is having various different programs, two of which I will also introduce today, namely the APAL and the Triple Win. And additionally, the BA is also working with other programs, namely with the pilot project on advising Indian students in Germany, but also in engaging at job fairs to make sure that some sort of placement is actually taking place and matching. But I will explain a little bit more on that in a moment. And as you can see, the BA also continues truly to improve their own platforms, that it is as accessible as possible to the Indian students and skilled migrants here in Germany. But before I dive into the programs of the BA, I would first like to indeed address two of the points about the visa digitization and expeditation. As you can see, that is also a concern that has been taken note of. This was also mentioned in the skilled migration strategy India. As I said, you can have a little bit more of a look on the details there. There is not too much time to dive into it. But as you can see, there is also a scale-up taking place there. And additionally, we have the FIT program. This is in particular targeting Indian students because we are aware that there is a gap between the students who are here and then joining the labor force. So we are also actually investing in, or the DAAD has received now funding of almost 120 million, where they are actively engaged in two particular projects. One is Profi Plus, the other is the FIT program, where they are working on actually producing programs in order to connect the students, but also in order to ensure success, but also the integration of them thereafter into the labor force. So this is something that is being worked on. We have also positive examples, but I will not have the time to dive into it right now. Please do really look into the skilled migration strategy India. Jumping a little bit forward, Triple Win and APAL, I'm sure there is a lot of questions about what this actually is. Triple Win is about recruiting nursing professionals from India that is very much targeted. In India itself, we are working with recruitment agencies, so state recruitment agencies, two of which precisely are the Norca in Kerala, Norca Roots, and Tomcom in Telangana. And the whole idea behind is, as mentioned, to make sure that these skilled professionals in the nursing sectors are provided support through the visa application process and so forth, and are matched with companies here in Germany or hospitals that require them. The APAL program is also a very interesting program. It is actually, it was started in Latin America. It was very successful there. That's why it has also then been brought now to India. Concretely, right now, this program is being implemented in Delhi, with the possibility of also it being expanded to Maharashtra. In Delhi, we are working with the Goethe Institute as well as the Delhi Board for School Education. And at the same time, the cooperation partners in Germany are the ZAV and the BA, who are also, the ZAV, is the International Specialized Services in Germany. And they are working together to ensure, to ensure that indeed, for starters, the trainees in India are having language preparation, but then they are also having employers on the other side who are covering the costs. So it's about apprenticeship migration here when it comes to Germany. And of course, as mentioned, the visa procedures and the first rent payment would then also be paid. As such, I think now I'm slowly hitting my time. So thank you very much. I will be here today as well. If you have any concerns, you may address that with me, and I will be taking it back to my unit. So thank you so very much again.
Thank you very much again. We want to talk today about Goethe Institute's support of Indian migrants in India as well as in Germany after arriving. First, I want to introduce who is speaking to you today, and this is my colleague, Stephanie Habeck. She is project coordinator and welcome coach here in Frankfurt for the project Pre-Integration and Transition Management. And my name is Lisa Beck. I'm project coordinator and welcome coach in the Goethe Institute Mannheim, also for the project Pre-Integration and Transition Management. What this project is all about, you will get to know in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And in the project itself, my focus in my work is on the migration from India as well as Southeast Asia to Germany. And yeah, for some general information, I will give the word to my colleague Stephanie at first.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'll just give you a quick overview of what this project is about. First of all the offers are free and they are not connected to our language courses and exams. Why are they for free? Because we're being co-funded by the European Union. And our target group is professionals and apprentices and their families, not students. In our terminology, the project is divided into two projects, basically. So pre-integration in our terminology means support prior to departure, and transition management, again in our terminology, refers to support in Germany, which is what Lisa and I and our colleagues as welcome coaches are responsible for. To give you an idea what's the context here and why is Goethe Institute an ideal partner for Indian migrants and migrants in general, I've brought you a map here of all the Goethe Institute worldwide. We have 150 institutes in 99 countries, which means our network is extensive, and we are building on that. Our activities and services and free offers are taking place at these Goethe Institutes. Something about Goethe Institute in general. Why is Goethe Institute, again, a good partner for migrants? We are the official cultural institution of the Federal Republic of Germany, and as such, it is our mission to advocate for understanding between Germany and the world, and also it is our mission to promote intercultural exchange. As I said, we are present in many countries, and amongst them are obviously also the target regions for skilled labor migration, and our language certificates and exams, which are very well known, are also an important part of our portfolio, and most of the people who take our language exams are prospective migrants. And Lisa is now going to inform you about the free offers of the team pre-integration in India.
Thank you. So yeah, now we will dive deeper into the topic of pre-integration. What does that mean? And I brought you another map. On this map, you can see like all of our locations from the Goethe Institute where we provide pre-integration services. There are over 100 colleagues of us that are providing those services abroad, and they do it and 61 different locations. And what are these services? We can say pre-integration services, and those are based on our web portal. The web portal is called Mein Weg nach Deutschland. Maybe some of you have heard of it. I think it's quite practical, translated My Way to Germany. And it's a one-stop web portal with all the important information you need for your migration to Germany. So you can find information about the administrative steps one has to take to come to Germany. You will find as well information about where to find accommodation, how to do it, how to find employment, and many other things for your everyday life. For example, the school system. If you want to come to Germany, you probably want to bring your family. So you also have to know what do you need for your family. And these information are available in 30 languages. Among those are English, Tamil, and Hindu. So at least some of the Indian languages. And beside the information, you also find a lot of free German exercises from the level A1 to B2, which also have a focus on work life. So you can learn a little bit of the language at the workplace. And as I said, it's the base of the pre-integration services. So it's also the base of the content of what our colleagues in India are doing. And they are offering the pre-integration services since 2023, as well as we in Germany. Our team also started in 2023. And the locations where we have colleagues in India, this is in Delhi, and Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, and Kolkata. But of course, to a large extent, the services are available online and also at the Goethe Zentren, you may know, in Trivandrum and Kochi, Hyderabad, and so on. And what are the trainings and workshops and if you want to be updated about that, there's a newsletter from our colleagues you can subscribe to, of course. And if there is not like a single person who wants to come to India on its own, but a company, then you can also get in contact with our colleagues and get like maybe an exclusive event if you have like more people coming to Germany. Yes, and I brought you like an overview of the latest events, so you can see it's a good mix from workshops, from preparation for exam and learning strategies, and also interactive workshops and info sessions. And of course, as we heard today, there are a lot of players in this whole migration and mobility. We cannot do it alone, and we have a lot of trustworthy and partners and cooperation projects. Some of that you have heard today. We're working together with AHK, also with the DIHK, the projects of Hand in Hand and the Pro Recognition. I know that there are like some colleagues from the Pro Recognition project who do also in-house consultation at the Goethe Institutes in Pune, for example. And of course, also with some other people who are here like Fintiba. And if you want to get in contact with our colleagues in India directly, we have their details over here. And now we would dive into what we are doing in Germany.
Thank you, Lisa. Let me give you a brief overview of what we as welcome coaches offer in the project part of transition management. We are giving mostly info sessions online, but we're trying to be present in Germany as much as possible. Lisa and I, we are working in Mannheim and in Frankfurt, so these are two of our focus cities, so to speak, but we try to travel as much as possible, and we have a lot of partner institutions, for instance, the Welcome Center Hessen, and also the IHK Offenbach, for instance. So yeah, we try to get around as much as possible. You can find us at goethe.de/welcome. We have 3 different types of events: online info sessions and German workshops, the online course German for Nursing Care, and then exclusive events for groups and companies. What are our online events? They're all kind of the same format, 90 minutes, usually in English or German. We try to provide simultaneous interpretation as much as possible. And we have several topics that we're talking about in these info sessions that are all relevant for people who have just come to Germany and who need to adapt to the German lifestyle and the bureaucracy. I've brought you an overview of recent and future info sessions. For instance, I would like to point out one that is called Tips and Tricks for Job Applications. It does take place in German, and this is, for instance, interesting for people who have successfully obtained the Chancenkarte and are now in Germany. A lot of Indian people are currently here in Germany, also in Frankfurt, searching for a job, and they can improve their performance during a job application by joining our session online. And tomorrow, actually, we have a workshop or information event called Being a Woman in Germany, Health Information. We're trying to provide a safe space to talk about issues that are relevant for women who have migrated to Germany. As I mentioned, it's not only skilled workers and apprentices, but also spouses who we're trying to support. So, This is a small overview. I just want to give you, because I think Mrs. Eichhorn, you talked about how there's no specific language courses. Yeah, we are at the Goethe Institute. We're trying to fill this gap. We have it's currently a self-learning course, and of course it does not, you still have to attend a normal German course, obviously. So the ideal scenario is that you are on B2 level in German, and then you join this course, this self-learning course, and expand your knowledge on terminology that you would need in a hospital setting or in a care center for elderly people. We have supplementary training via Zoom with a teacher from Goethe Institute a couple of times a week. And again, this is all for free and not connected to our language courses. And sorry, that was too quick. And then, of course, we do offer exclusive events if a company approaches us with a group of people and would like to have a specific event for their future employees or their current employees. We try to accommodate that as much as possible. We've given here a couple of examples, but obviously there's much more. And I've given you here an overview of our contact details. It's again lisa.beck@goethe.de and stephanie.habig@goethe.de. We have 3 websites actually to also accommodate for all the needs of companies and people who are actually trying to migrate to Germany and for nursing, nursing professionals. And we'd be really happy to talk to you during the coffee break. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Consul General Mubarak, for inviting me to Frankfurt. I'm coming from Düsseldorf. I'm the head of the German-Indian Round Table in Düsseldorf. We are a club all over Germany, so in every big city we have a club, and you're mostly welcome to join our meetings. In general, if you want to be happy in Germany, join clubs. 7 Deutsche, ein Verein. Yes, we love clubs. From rowing to tennis to political clubs. And German Indian Round Table is a bridge between India and Germany, and we are happy to have you. So, I'm not only head of German Indian Round Table, but my hobby is employment law. And so I would give you a 10 minutes introduction into German employment law, because this is an interesting factor for somebody who is coming in our country. What is the legal framework? What are the do's and don'ts? So let me start. Yeah, the first slide would be good. The content. Yeah, thank you very much. It's just, why is employment law so important? Who are the players? What is the legal framework? That's what I want to talk about. Ah, yeah. Okay, and I can use this probably, yeah? Good. So why is employment law important? It is a very emotional law. So if you come into another country, you do not really know how to behave, what are you doing, what is allowed and what is not allowed. And for instance, let me give you a short example. I had a case in a big telecommunication company. There was a group of, an international group, Italians, Spanish people, German people, and then a young lady was suddenly the boss in the group because she was the best. And this elderly boy, about 50 years old, said, I don't like her, I don't like this. And he is trying, he says always in the group, well, Vanessa, you are the worst manager I ever had. Yeah, and he's doing that constantly. And after a while, we gave him a written warning. In Germany, you have to receive a written warning before you can be fired. So he got the warning, and then he went to court. Interesting, our courts are very fast. So after 3 to 4 weeks, I know India a little bit. In India, it takes quite long with the courts. But here, with the labor courts, 3 to 4 weeks, you have the first hearing. And there was a young lady judge. I was happy about that. And she said, no, you can't behave like that. So the warning is valid. After a while, 3 to 4 months, this guy does the same thing. Vanessa, you're the worst manager I ever had. You're impossible for working here and so on. And then I said, we fire you. We fired him. We went again to the court because in Germany you can claim unfair dismissal. There is protection against dismissal, and it is nearly for everybody. In India, I know a little bit about Indian law. It's mostly for workmen, people who are doing very simple jobs. No managers. But this case, this was a manager case. He had protection, and the first judge was a lady judge. And the whole bench was a lady bench, and they said, no, you can't do this, you're fired. He went to appeal, and the judge was elderly people, 2 boys, yeah, about 50 to 60 years old. They said, Oh, you can do that. You can do that. It's no problem. It's a freedom of speech in Germany. So it's very tough and it's a very emotional law. That's what I wanted to say to you. Our law ensures not only financial security, but also personal dignity and respect at work. That's the example for that. Different players in Germany, but nearly the same as in India. So we are having works councils. In India, it's more a union system. You have nearly, I think, 27,000 unions in India. That's the number I read somewhere. We have only a few unions, but they're very powerful. Then we are having Works Council. We have a very special feature which is unique in the world. It is a co-determination. So after 1972, we introduced under socialist government a co-determination. So the company is led by managing directors, but in certain cases, they have to ask the Works Council how to change, to make changes in the company. That's very difficult for the managers, but it helps and it brings an interest of power, a balance of power and mitigation of interests, which is very good. We have very seldom strikes in Germany. In India, strikes, I had now one case in Chennai, we had a hunger strike, we had very tough strikes. It is quite common and is quite political. Since a while, we have laws on equal treatment and anti-discrimination. There's a special law, I will show you that and give you a short introduction. So nobody can be discriminated because of origin, of religion, of race or whatever. Oh, sorry, I still have time, I think. But it's quite tricky, I will show. These are the minimum conditions on work, 8 hours a day. Normally we're working just 5 days. In India, you're working 6 days. So come to Germany, you work less. Rest breaks, and we are having many public holidays. I think our bank holidays are not that frequent as in India. In India, it's so different, and it's always, there's Diwali, there's Holi, there's so many different cultural bank holidays. So it's different here. This is a protection against discrimination. This can lead to damages, and it's forbidden to discriminate anybody on race and ethnic and gender, religion or belief, disability, age, and so on. And even in the job interview, it is not allowed to ask anybody in this regard. The ways to end a contract, yeah, that's a very special protection on or against unfair dismissal. We have ordinary termination and we have a termination for cause without notice. One thing is very tricky in Germany. So we have very, very good protection against unfair dismissal when it comes to freedom of speech. Even if you are really lazy, it's difficult to give you a termination. But there is one thing you should remember. If there is only the smallest criminal offense against the employer. So there was one case, a lady working in a bakery, she just took a Stück of Bienenstich. Bienenstich is a cake, yeah, just one cake, and took it for her. You can be fired immediately. So very difficult. The role of the Works Council is very important because Works Council has to be consulted before termination. And normally, when there is not a good relation between worker and employer, in Germany, very often a mutual agreement called Aufhebungsvertrag is made, and that's the amicable solution. My last slide is on social security contributions. we are having that system as you have in India. It is here, the system is a little bit more established since, oh, when did it start? I think with Bismarck, yeah, that was 1878 or so. And he started to introduce a social legislation with a social security contributions. Half of the social security contribution is given by the employer and the other half is given by the employee. So what will happen if you're only for 3 or 4 years from India in Germany? There is a solution. And thank you to the diplomats, there was a special security agreement between Germany and India. I think it is about 10 years old. Yeah, that's not that old. And this is governed it prevents double social security payments. Yeah? That's a very good thing, and it doesn't help if you just get a mini pension from Germany, or 20 euros or 100 euros. It helps you more when this is recognized in your home country, when you would like to go back, but if you want to stay, everything's fine. So that's everything I wanted to tell you about German labor law. And thank you very much for your attention.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dear Honorable Consul, dear State Secretary, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here and allowing me to give a different lens on the skilled migration and skilled labor discussion. My name is Florian Teuber. I was formerly a professor of international entrepreneurship, and now I'm heading the entrepreneurship department at RKW. And many of you might not know, well, I guess none of you would know what RKW stands for. We don't actually use the full name anymore, but I can tell you a few things, and then I will try to get across 3 points, what we know about this from a startup perspective, what we don't know so well, and some ideas of an outlook, what could be done, what can be contributed by different parties. So RKW is a fairly old institution. It's founded in 1921. So we had a 100-year anniversary celebrated in 2022, actually 101 years due to the Corona pandemic. It was founded on strong engineering roots, founded by Carl Friedrich Siemens and the Association of German Engineers. And the original idea was to make the German economy, the German Mittelstand, competitive and especially competitive in the future. And why was this necessary? It was important because in, well, 1921 was just after World War I. A lot of skilled labor has died in the war, and companies in the US started to automate their manufacturing, notably Ford with the automation belt, with the production belts. And this was a sign for the German economy, the private sector individuals in the economy, Siemens and VDI, to do something. And RKW was very instrumental in the post-war or between-war economy and also after World War II by rationalizing a lot of things, introducing standards and norming boards. I saw the logo of RAL before. RAL was actually initiated by RKW. DIN, the German Institute for Norms, also, and even the postal code system, the 5-digit postal code system that was introduced after the German unification in the 1990s was invented by RKW or conceptualized by RKW in the 1930s, I think 30s. So quite a few things that we don't know about today, but that were important and more important in the past compared to today. What do we do today? We're a network of organizations, collaborate with between us at the RKW Competence Center here in Eschborn, we operate all over Germany, and then we have a number of state organizations, an association and a GmbH limited in each of the states. We see ourselves as a neutral think tank for the Mittelstand, and we are neutral because we have funding from the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs, which is very important for a lot of our work, that we're non-partisan. We don't have an English website yet. We're thinking of it actually at the moment, because we used to have an international department, but then strategy has changed. But now there are so many approaches also by foreign delegations. We recently had colleagues from Kazakhstan I think it was in a web meeting with the colleagues who work on skilled labor. Next week, some Koreans come over, and there we heard the term National Productivity Center. That's how they call it in Kazakhstan. And in Asia, there's also an association of national productivity centers. And when I first heard this and mentioned this, someone said, oh, it's like Doge in the US. No, that's not. Not to be confused with what Elon Musk was trying to do. Trying to improve productivity, but not in a more, let's say, in a more rational way. We have 3 focal areas: entrepreneurship, that's what I'm heading, digitalization and innovation, and skilled labor shortage. And it's not my colleague here today speaking to you, but I would like to give a different impulse on startups and entrepreneurship. Introducing a few other aspects. And having been a professor myself, I liked the university link that we heard before, because I think there's a lot of potential for the Indo-German cooperation. Something I missed here. 3 activities that we do in my department. First is the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. It's a study of 50+ countries over 25 years now, including India, UK, US, Israel, with a standardized questionnaire, so you can really compare what's happening. What are the startup activities and the entrepreneurial activities, not startup only, in these different countries and over time. And we're actually launching the next one on the 1st of July. Brought a few flyers and I have a QR code on the last slide for you if you want to register right away. I also like the university link. We also run 2 programs for the ministry. One is the Global Entrepreneurship Week, Germany, which we call Gründungswoche Deutschland, and the European Enterprise Promotion Award. So if you're an association, non-profit promoting entrepreneurship, then IPA is for you. And we do this for the German ministry in an EU-wide approach. We all know that. I think that's nothing new. Just the source is different. Handelsblatt and Institut der Deutschen Wirtschaft in Köln. The number of Indians in the STEM professions, and you see, you know how it's risen over the last few years. We know that the highest number of international students comes from India in these professions. That's all nothing new. But what do we not know so well? I think this is a different lens that I'd like to provide to you today, and I think that's where the university link and the STEM link is also very important. For my current position, I'm also part of the Exist board. Exist is an initiative started by the Ministry of Research and Education 25 years ago. Today it's hosted by the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and it's meant to encourage, incentivize, foster, and strengthen startups out of universities, science-based startups, innovation-based startups. So that's very important. And this Exist also has a new initiative running. They had a jury meeting on Monday. Even though I'm on the board, I don't know the results yet, but the Startup Factories is a really huge competition. And there were 15 aspirants in the last round, and 10 of these consortia will get 10 million funding over 5 years to have a regional ecosystem to strengthen the startup base. Frankfurt, Darmstadt, Mainz is one of them with Futury. You might have heard of Futury, the Futury Factory, I think it's the name. There's one in Rostock, in Mecklenburg, Vorpommern, I don't know the English name of that now. There's one in not Düsseldorf, but Cologne. They spread all over the country, and they are in competition right now. But once the 10 winners will be named, they will start to cooperate also within Germany, but also using their international links, because all of them are mandated to show what they will do, how they will help their startups to grow internationally. And that's where we come to India, because we have a lot of anecdotal evidence already from those many Indian students that are here, that they not only want to become integrated in the formal employment sector, but want to start their own business. It's not so easy from a visa perspective to change the visa, but there's some ways, there's a few things that are allowed. But they not only want to start their business here, a lot of them also want to grow a business between Germany and India. So there's already a two-way stream. So Indians already being here, wanting to go abroad, wanting to grow back, like return migrant entrepreneurs or diaspora migrants. We know from universities like Rostock, they're working with IITs, triple IT, BITS. There's a German accelerator by the Start2 Group who have an office in India, and the DWIH, the German House of Science and Innovation in Delhi. And they are all building an ecosystem. So this ecosystem perspective, connecting firms, universities, people, is I think something that that we should try to look at more, that it's not only the established Mittelstand and companies and corporates, but also smaller companies that like to go to India, that like to hire people from India, and that from an inside-out perspective, I think also provide an interesting perspective for German startups, especially in the given current geopolitical climate with the United States. If you look at the number of unicorn startups that are valued at $1 billion US or euro, Germany has around 30. India has, depending on the source, 100, 110, 120, so about 4 times more. Of course, India's a lot bigger than 4 times more than Germany, but still the absolute number is really big. So there's a very high number of large companies, unicorn startups, from which German entrepreneurs, German startup founders can learn. So I think it would also be very, very good to encourage the German startups to look more into the Indian market, so doing the opposite of what most of us are looking into today. So just to give an added perspective to most of today's discussion. Thank you very much. This is the QR code for the German Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, which we'll host, which we'll launch in 10 days. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to discussion and dialogue in the coffee break.
I'm not Marie Beneman. I think it's for everyone clear. My name is Alberto Coronado, and I come from, and I'm very happy to be here. Somehow I feel at home. At the moment, I have near every day, anybody from India in our office. The amount of people coming from India, sometimes I ask, there are anybody still in India? Because it's like everyone is coming to us. And I'm very happy because I like people from India. Yes. Welcome Center. I explain you what Welcome Center is. Welcome Center is a joint initiative of the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, Hessian Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, the Chamber of Skilled Crafts, Frankfurt Rhein-Main, and the Federal Employment Agency. Maybe the next one. Our official statement is we are part of the larger strategy, Hessian strategy, to meet the rising demand on labor workers, and we are intended to be a bridge between companies and international workers. But really what we do is we help people. Most of us, as you can hear, my accent, I come from Spain. I originally from Spain, but most of us have lived abroad, and we know, all of us know, or most of us know how demanding how a big challenge is to live abroad. And what we would like is that you enjoy the nice part of living abroad, and with our help, you avoid the difficult part of living abroad. Our intention is, like Herr Podel said, I think to be happy in Germany, you should join a club. And yet, if you want to be happy in Hessen, join the Welcome Center Hessen. Next one. We are primary contact and consulting service. Since our opening, we have many. I think to speak about this amount with Indian people is a little bit shame, because for you, everything is 10 times more. Maybe next time I will delete the numbers, because for you it's like 1 million people visit your office. No, wait a little bit smaller. And what we do is to help people to stay here. We have a website where you can find important information on every topic. Anyway, always what I say, I would like our homepage is worse than it is, because I have seen many people think I found information on internet, but there is so an amount of information that at the end you don't have clear what you need. And for that, I think, okay, we have this nice page. With the help of the ministry, we have a nice page, but we are happy if you contact us. This is the important thing. Our group is international qualified workers that finish their studies or vocational training abroad, or students that would like to start here vocational training or study at university. And also Hessian companies. There are many people offering help to companies, but we also help companies and small and medium-sized business, also big ones if they contact us. This is not a problem, and administration is interested in hiring people. What we do, we help in every point you need, but mostly people come here, for example, from India. What we have is many people on dependent visa. The husband or the wife got a job in any bank, for example, and they come here with a very nice career, but they come here and they have difficulties to find a job. Even they think, and this is why the program of Goethe Institute is very important, everyone thinks, I come here with A1. With A1 you get your visa, but with A1 it's difficult to find a job. And for that it's important that people contact us, contact Goethe Institute, and we help people being here in Frankfurt, being here in Hessen, being here in Rhein-Main-Gebiet, but we help people also being in India. And if you have the opportunity to extend our name, we are glad if people from India contact us. We have also online workshops, and we speak to people being in India. And this would be the best, when the people come and they have the information. Some people come with families and they don't know how they could go, how can get a kindergarten. We don't know also how to get a kindergarten, because it's not easy to get, but okay, we try to help them. And we help also looking for an apartment, but it's the same question. It's not easy, but we can help with these questions. Every question, I have the more difficult questions, but we find always a solution for the questions. We give orientation also about recognition. Not always you need a recognition, not always. If your profession is not reglementierte Beruf, then you don't need a recognition. But anyway, in case people are interested, because could be a good way to be as presentation for companies, we work together with Verami or Imbolast, they assist on this topic. We organize regularly also workshops. We do also in personal interviews, but I think it's sometimes good to meet other people, to see other people have the same problems that we have. And for that, we organize workshops regularly in our ATM. Yes. And this is very important, because it's very important you get here integrated. I think for Indian people, it's especially important because most of you feel you as expat. Your goal is to go back. And sometimes you go back, sometimes you stay here. And if you stay only with people from India, at the end, you are not really integrated. And for that, I think it's important. Okay, you can come back. India is a nice country. I don't say don't go back. But could be good if you prepare yourself for the case you stay here. Because this is a nice country, especially Hessen, Frankfurt. I think is the best country, the best city in Frankfurt, in Germany. And I think maybe at the end you decide to stay here. I have met, we have also partner of employees of the European Central Bank. And I remember a woman from, the man was working here. She said, I was there for the career of my husband. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I go back to Madrid. And then she met anybody in Madrid. She was working in Madrid. And anybody asked her, how can I get to this point? And she realized they were from Germany. And they said, are you from Germany? Yes. Where are you from? From Frankfurt. Me too. And they started to speak German. And she was so ashamed that she was living here 7 years. And she could say only, wie geht es dir, danke. And sorry, I mixed to the German now. I think the best you could do is to start learning German, even if you go back to India, you can read Kafka or Goethe in German. Okay, and this is our, and Marie Beneman couldn't come, but okay, I'm here. I hope I could give you enough information. I have seen that you don't have questions, but if you have any question, I'm glad you make any question.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Before we just start, a big thanks to Mr. Mubarak and State Secretary Ms. Strobel for putting this at a very right time. In fact, everyone we meet across, the circles, the business circles, the only word that we hear most often is about mobility. I extend a very warm welcome to all the engaged audience and esteemed panelists. And I'm sure that with your in-depth knowledge about your subjects on mobility, probably we'll have some food for thought today. And probably I'm not saying that we will be able to address some of the challenges, but definitely we'll be able to highlight that to the appropriate people. And maybe with some of the ideas and clues, we may let them go home with some food for thought. Having said that, today we gather as thought leaders, industry experts, policymakers, and keen observers to deep dive into the pressing issues that shape the landscape of mobility. And mobility is it's a backbone of any society because it brings a different perspective about things. It helps the economy to grow. It helps us to understand accommodating different type of cultures and grow together. So it has its own kind of importance, so as to say. But if it is not done in a right way, the same thing actually can become a very big challenge for the society and for the individuals and their family. So let's quickly, considering that we have 30 minutes, I have actually deleted some of the questions which probably were already answered. And we'll just focus on few of the things which matter or which were not addressed in the previous discussion. So before I just go into a very quick round of introductions, starting with you, please.
Yes, thank you very much. The microphone works as well. Jonas auf dem Kampe. I'm a German employment migration lawyer. So I work for a global law firm that focuses on German employment migration law. So we see what we say Fachkräfteeinwanderung literally every day. We support companies and private clients on a daily basis with immigration to Germany, and therefore we also have the practical insights on how immigration actually works with the involved authorities, what problems there may be on a daily basis. And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be here today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rucha Ambekar. I am an intercultural and strategy trainer. I aid the German industry, Mittelstand especially, in integrating the non-European workforce, mainly India and Germany, becoming the topic here for last 12 odd years. So there are a lot of lessons learned from the operational level, which I can share, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Welcome, my name is Jonas Markgraf. I'm Managing Director of Fintiba. We're a Frankfurt-based tech company building a platform for internationals to come to Germany, especially through visa processes with blocked accounts, health insurance, everything you need. We have more than 300,000 internationals coming to Germany, and of course our core in this discussion of how do we ease that journey as much as possible. And great to be here. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Mark Michaelis. I work for Obama, a big health insurance company from Germany. And as the name suggests, we offer health insurance, mandatory health insurance to everybody in Germany. And therefore, we also support the Indian community and the foreign community in general with health insurance questions and so on. And we provide them access to the German healthcare system. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Saravanan. I'm representative of AFRI Berlin, based in Berlin, as the name says, and we are focusing on fair migration and fair mobility, especially focusing on labor exploitation and human trafficking. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi everyone, I'm Renuka Panchpur, educationist by passion. I represent TELC here. TELC is one of the leading educational organization in Germany and also internationally. So our focus is mainly the first steps that we earlier discussed as well: German language, certifications, teachers training, also the publication, the books, how to learn German.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think it's quite a heavy panel that I have to probably moderate. But all said and done, I'm looking for a very stimulating and thought-provoking discussions. With that, let's begin. As an icebreaker to start with, I would say that if you can just briefly mention the challenges that you face, or other, I would say challenge, not challenges, challenge that you face in your specific fields very quickly, starting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically probably a summary of things we have heard today already. It's the heavy bureaucracy. It's the involvement of various institutions and authorities in Germany that are involved in a typical immigration process to Germany. It is the situation at all the individual authorities involved here when it comes to how much staff those authorities have, how big the volume of application is, of the applications is at various authorities, both in Germany and abroad, at the German embassies, at the German consulates. And then also, of course, and this is something that the clients realize on a daily basis, the heavy and the high processing times that are basically as a result of those different aspects. This is what we're dealing with on a daily basis. I could, of course, go on, but I think these are the major challenges we face.
Thank you. Navigating through all the systemic and structural differences and hurdles and barriers, there has to be a strong bridge that is a given, but I am looking at the other side of the bridge. So in the Mittelstand, on the operational level, according to me, reaching the work integration. So inside of the Mittelstand, whether there is a social integration is a completely different category, but professional integration, when people start working over here, that is according to me, because it has an effect on many facets on migration. So whether the issues range from subtle biases to extreme issues as to discrimination, but also professional isolation is a very big issue, and that has an effect on whether the migration is going to be sustainable or not. So according to me, professional isolation and whether there is an integration plan at the Mittelstand level as well, that is, according to me, from an interculturalist view, the pressing challenge.
All right, I mean, you know the business very well, Dev. So I would say from a business side, we are part of the visa process. So we're directly connected to the visa process and with all German visa offices abroad. I would say the big issue is really that processes are not connected and aligned. The whole topic of how can we maybe link information that India has with what Germany needs on a digital level, there is huge room for potential, and we have a lot of loose ends to connect. And I think on an overall level, I see we have worked a lot on quantity over the last years, but I think it's now time to switch to quality, because in the end, sort of the way that successful integration makes the whole process successful. And I think we need to do that all along the way. How we assess language, how we assess requirements for university, how we assess also candidates for jobs. And I think this is where we need to really change mindsets.
Can't agree more.
Well, from my side, being a part of the bureaucracy in Germany, which Jonas just mentioned, I won't complain about the bureaucracy in Germany. But from my point of view, it's really the access to the healthcare system that hinders people in moving to Germany, because we have a difficult system in Germany, and we need to open it up for people coming here to feel really safe and arrive in Germany and focus on their jobs and what they do. So that is really the biggest issue, to explain the system to them, to really make it understandable for them.
Yeah, migration is not an easy issue. Like many of us, we have this migration story behind us. So it is not from moving from from point A to point B. It is like a life-changing decision for us. So the MMPA, the mobility partnership between India and Germany, that gives the opportunity to migrate to Germany and to have a professional development and economic growth. So on our day-to-day activities, we see three main categories of people who are coming to us or who are approaching us, like students, and then obviously the job seekers, the second category, and the Fachkraft and the skilled people. So the students, they have dreams, obviously, and apart from STEM groups, there are there are lots of students in the recent past coming for management studies. So this has given to a kind of private universities an opportunity to enroll a lot of people, a lot of Indian students in that management studies. So in that area, we see a kind of a huge issue where some universities are serious and most of the universities are not at all serious in what kind of degree they are giving. And after obtaining the degree, what are the chances to get integrated into this labor market? And there is another problem issue within that issue. There are a set of serious students who want to get into complete the studies and get integrated into the labor market. And then there are other set of students who are non-serious in nature, and they prioritize work job over studies and go into a kind of work more than what the statutory period allowed. Like some people, they work full time with a freelancer job or something like that. So they don't even know the labor rights also, and most of the students, they don't even the German language also, and they get in troubles with many problems.
I think we'll touch upon each and every point.
Yes.
Net what actually Jonas mentioned, it's time to look at quality rather quantity. I think that's exactly what you're aiming at. And we will touch upon this a bit more deeper. Just one question to you as well. The most important or the critical hurdle that you see in your business?
So a lot of hurdles are already mentioned, but what I think coming from an educational background, I think one of the major challenges that we are facing right now is availability of qualified teachers, because it's one of the aspects that we cannot forget. We cannot talk about skilled immigrants without considering the teachers who are actually going to train them with German language. So a lot needs to be done in terms of investing in qualifying those teachers, empowering those teachers to train their students better for Germany. It will then help also to mitigate a lot of challenges that are faced later at the migration stage or at the integration stage.
Sure. So basically, whatever I understood, between all of you 6 people, we actually cover the initiation and then the settlement, the entire journey of any person who wants to migrate. So Saravanan, a question for you. Ms. Bieber actually gave an impressive overview on the initiative taken by the Bundesministerium. And despite these reforms, why do the bureaucratic delays persist in visa processing or getting your residence permit, or for that matter even the documentation, getting that right? And how can you overcome such structural issues?
See, again, if you see the volume of applications, like it's not like in some 2-3 years back, the volume of application itself is huge. And there, in some areas, we see lack of resources, like in Berlin. We have a migration pact between India and Germany, but there are lack of resources, like human resources or funding to prioritize this visa applications quickly and to process it quickly. So that's one aspect. And then there's recognition. That recognition itself takes some 8 weeks, I think, 8 weeks, 2 months. 2 months, and it is not a guarantee that it will be fulfilled in 2 months. So there is a huge gap, but they, as one of the presenters here said, they will look into each applicants, even though they are they have equal qualification, they are going to have a same employer and same thing. So there, if you see each and everything, if you process, it will delay the whole process, and the employer. Obviously, the EHACA research study shows that process is get delaying. So lack of resources is on the one side, and the other side, homemade complexities.
Savan, just on this question, is it the intent issue? Because by saying that funding is not available or resources are not, resources I can still agree because the whole discussion is about that. But when it comes to funding and all, is this an intent issue? Or is there a gap between what the policymaker actually wants to do and what the people understand at a execution level?
Yeah, there is a huge gap. When I see like the stakeholders, the industry, they want they want the process to be done quickly, but the bureaucracy level, they say, no, we will look into this. We cannot let anyone simply to our country. So there the gaps exist. So there it also gives a kind of a loophole to the other exploiters also, like Fachkraft, this Aksen, the 18A and 18B. So you divert, you just play with those things and they get visas. So correct. To circumvent those recognition process. Yeah. So in that way, the bureaucratic process should be reformed. How it
well, it's a very heavy word of reform, I'll say. And anyone actually looking at any country, which is especially non-English speaking country, language plays a very key role. And Renuka, a question for you. Ms. Habig and Ms. Beck actually provided quite insights on what Goethe is doing and how they are trying to integrate people who are coming to Germany, in Germany and in India or in any other country. And language plays a crucial role in any sort of successful integration. So although integration courses are mandatory, some cases subsidized, and what I understood is in some cases it's free. So why do completion rate and the satisfaction score remains inconsistent? And what's missing in the government's approach to foster this true linguistic and cultural integration?
Yeah, so first of all, I think in courses subsidized, even free of cost, and making them compulsory, yes, but the overall funding for the integration courses has been considerably reduced in last year. So there are a lot of Volkshochschulen who are not able to start the new courses. That's from the perspective of the people who are providing the courses. From the perspective of the people who actually do the courses, I feel that there should be more of online or hybrid kind of a model because with the working professionals coming here, trying to integrate into the work life in Germany, they prefer a lot online where it gives them a lot of flexibility. So because I think that's one of the things that integration courses can aim at. And another thing I have seen a lot of times, also read about it, is spouses of skilled workers. They are the ones who are generally supposed to do the integration courses. At times, childcare facilities, they have to wait for a year or 2 years for their child to enter Kita, and that makes them a little tied up with their routine at home, and that I think so there are other aspects apart from only language which impact the actual language learning or time to be given for language learning.
So Jonas, just a follow-up question on that probably. We work with students, and what was your perspective when you're looking at students who are actually graduating in Germany and getting a job vis-a-vis students who have probably not learned German? And as you're aware, sometimes they struggle to get into the job market. How do you look at this situation?
I think it's quite clear that, of course, the language is one of the big integration enablers.
Yeah.
And if you're not based in Berlin or either Frankfurt or one of the really big cities, it will be very tough. And most jobs are in German Mittelstand, somewhere very far away. At the same time, I see that as a huge chance because I think there's so many Indian people who are not just coming for Berlin or the huge cities, and they are willing to go to the places where Germans at the moment are not coming. But I see the biggest risk that people come with wrong expectations. It's very tricky, so especially for some of the private universities that do full English-speaking courses without German learning, that by the time you start learning German, it's almost too late. And I think we need to match that expectations much earlier. And this is, again, quality to say, what do we need? I think that students, the really interesting part about why I think that we should focus on students is that we have a pathway of integration integrated in the process. I mean, all these things that we try with individual bodies around that we also talked here is part of the student journey with sort of the universities having welcome weeks. You automatically get friends, you have internship opportunities, everything you need to build a network is much more natural in students. So I think many people that come on Chancenkarte should also maybe consider rather doing a second master if they really think long-term and do a pathway that we also heard today about these fit sort of career center initiatives then going forward. So I think this is the interesting part about the students.
Yeah, Ruja, just, linking these two things, very interesting facts actually we saw in a couple of reports as well. So my experience, as you're aware, I was a banker out and out for 20 years working in corporate banking. And I always thought that the Siemens of the world actually don't face any issues because they are already international. But I think probably there's a course correction or I need to correct myself. But I have seen a stark problem when it comes to the Mittelstand. Because it's not only about the language, but a cultural aspect plays a very huge role. Because I've come across people in Germany over a period of time wherein their German is excellent. I would say they are C1, C2, but their integration in the society is somewhere lacking big time. So that means that, these both things have to go hand in hand. You can be, in language, you can be a C2, but if you don't respect the culture, if you are not a part of the German society, if you don't, you are not flexible to adopt a lot of things, actually these things can end up in a unsuccessful integration in spite of you knowing the best of German. So on that aspect, considering that the Mittelstand is not that international, and seeing someone coming from a foreign land, and in this case from India, knowing the language, but integration and all, how crucial and what are the challenges that are faced on both sides?
I need a day for this, but I will try to shorten it in a bit. I want to go back just for one aspect of the Einbürgerungstest, the integration, German integration test, as we call it. The focus of these tests is passing the Einbürgerungstest, the courses. All of you who have done the test know it. If you have not done the test, as an experiment, just download the Einbürgerungstest Hessen and try to solve it. And then ask yourself a question whether this test in any way enable any kind of deeper understanding or integration pathway.
Yeah.
The discussion is on another level. I'm not criticizing the test itself, but it does not waive off any kind of further, so one has done the integration course, does not mean that I will be successful in a Mittelstand.
Yeah.
There has to be a lot of push factor also on the Mittelstand, that I am bringing you this to your house because the Mittelstand works as a family-oriented, very German-centric work culture. I'm bringing you this group. The house also needs to be ready,
Correct,
isn't it?
absolutely.
So again, an end-to-end integration concept absolutely is, for me, the central point, the key factor where if when it comes to cultural misunderstandings. I'm not going to talk about, we all know all the visible aspects, that the communication styles are different, that we expect different aspects from teamwork and so on. But the more relevant element for me is whether the Mittelstand or that particular, whether it can be a production unit or healthcare or whatever it is, are they investing in training the Ausbilder or the trainers who take these people in? That, according to me, that is where most of the conflicts happen, which leads to, again, non-sustainable or extremely not a very inclusive environment in the work culture.
Sure. Maybe if I may add one thing, because I really agree completely, and I think we sometimes think everyone is just waiting for Germany to open the doors and that we come, and I think we have to really switch that.
Correct.
If we want to compete for the people that we really need and the open-minded skills and everything, we need to get this welcome culture, not just into companies or Mittelstand, into the whole society.
Absolutely.
And I thought when we were talking about welcome centers, I thought, how do we get that? It's probably not through one center or whatever.
Correct.
It's a huge task.
Yeah, if I can just comment on that as well. I mean, all these aspects that we heard are incredibly important. They are fundamental. And then also the law comes in. German employment migration law is very complex. So get into the perspective of an employer for a second. There's an employer, he has a candidate. All these aspects are met. There's sufficient health insurance, the language skills are there, the cultural understanding is there, and then it's, okay, what are we going to do now for a student, for example, in order to let him or her work in Germany? So the truth is, in German employment immigration law, to work full-time as a student, you need to switch your permit towards a German work permit. Otherwise, it's not possible. So you need to be lucky enough to be residing in a city where you do have a German immigration office that has sufficient staff in order to process your application in time. If you're unlucky, for example, in Stuttgart and Nuremberg, in parts in Frankfurt as well, I have to say, it can take up to a year or even longer. So you keep being on your student permit, you are allowed to work part-time, and the company is waiting and waiting and waiting until your application has been processed. So we talk about quality, here we are. We have the processes, we have the law, we have great ideas. And also the coalition agreement, the coalition treaty of the new government provides great ideas, at least when it comes to skilled migration, to skilled labor. But we need to put that into practice. We need to make sure authorities are well equipped with sufficient staff, also with the understanding. Last point maybe, because what we see is, and we heard this throughout this session, German employment migration law has seen some very tremendous amendments. But what we do see is, and we do have actual cases, that staff at authorities sometimes are not aware of those amendments. So what we have to do is we go into legal discussions, which again delays processes. We see that at the end of the day, we know the law and we say, guys, listen, it's like this, actually it has changed. And then it takes time to get a response again. So we talk about quality. Quality needs to be implemented in the processes that are already there. And then I think, the future can look very bright.
Just on this point, because, we have just gone into the kind of integration and all, but before that, when a student or a job seeker or opportunity card holder comes from India, there are other financial requirements as well, starting from blocked account to the, various financial products. And when they land here, the first thing that they hit is that they have to do Anmeldung, and Anmeldung cannot happen for the next 6 weeks, which means that they cannot have an apartment for the next 6 weeks, which means they cannot have a bank account for 6 weeks. And this entire cycle goes on and on. I think we deal every day with that. So how is Fintiva probably looking into this? Because I think now, being the largest players, we both working together, how do you ensure that the customer's first, landing in Germany is kind of much more easy when it comes to this immediate paperwork?
Yeah, I think this is really how we try to to work around the different laws, as you just said, and improve a process which is really difficult. Because one example, for example, is health insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, we have now introduced the Chancenkarte with the requirement of having a health insurance for 12 months from outside.
Correct.
This is not planned in the system so far because travel health insurances are made for up to half a year. We have a lot of topics convincing embassies or visa offices worldwide to tell them, wait, look, you cannot proceed it like in the past because it will not work, or otherwise people pay 2 health insurances for the same time, once before they leave and once they come here. The same as you say, I think good example is the new visa portal that we heard about. The new visa portal is a great step forward because we can finally apply online for a visa, but unfortunately it's not connected to the local foreign offices here. That means we're missing that link again. And so I think it's of course business opportunities on some stages, and I think we can do a lot of work to improve, but we all hope that we can get everything to a leaner process to smooth that path. And as you said, I think the more we shift to be able to already do abroad, the less hurdle you have here. Like you say, there are ways of opening a bank account or like a current account already abroad, and you don't have to wait for your Anmeldung and then finding a bank for a current account, and you get access to your money right away, because otherwise you're right, then you wait 3 months for the amount of money that is blocked. And I'm glad that we're working on solutions, but I still see that the regulatory framework can
a lot
be
needs to be
improved.
done. But again, Jonas, on this point, if you see what we heard now in discussions, the quantum of the bachelor students is increasing over a period of time. And for addressing the bachelor students, we need a bank account, and sometimes these bachelor students are less than 18. And probably as of now, we don't have a solution, but we want them to come to Germany. So how do we navigate those things?
I think we
tough
must be
question,
very
but-
innovative, Dev. It's a true point. I mean, we are doing that we enable partially parents to open accounts for their kids, that we do financial solutions from abroad that you can use here, but it comes always with limitations, of course. I think with the health insurance we are further. That's much easier to get them on a health insurance than on the banking infrastructure, but we're definitely working on it.
No, thanks. Mark, how does the Germany insurance landscape accommodate newcomers, and what barriers do they face in securing essential or important health insurances, whether it is private, public, or health, or third party, any sort of insurances?
Well, that's a really good question. Talking for myself, as a German, the German healthcare landscape, health insurance landscape is already kind of hard to get into. And I don't want to imagine how it is for somebody from abroad who comes to Germany with a totally different system. I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, the most important thing is to bring transparency into everything, to bring the light, really the spotlight onto the issues that we have, and to show the people how to navigate everything. I mean, it starts with finding a doctor, which is easy for a German, to find a Hausarzt. I mean, you grow up, you have a general practitioner, a Hausarzt that supports you with everything. If you come to Germany as a newcomer, you are not aware. And when you get sick the first time, you question yourself, what am I gonna do today? How do I get the doctor? And then you start dialing and start searching on Google and look for doctors, and you notice, oh, they are all busy and don't have time for me. Then it's probably Wednesday, and most general practitioners don't have opening hours. So you have to be aware of that, and that's where Goethe Institute and IHK comes into place with all their programs that we already mentioned before, where we have to educate those people how to navigate the healthcare landscape and how to use everything to really arrive here in Germany and feel safe.
Yeah, I think we will be probably hitting our time in a couple of minutes. So if you had an opportunity to consult directly with policymakers, some of them are actually sitting here, what one piece of advice would you offer them to improve the pace and efficiency of migration related reforms? And it has to be just, couple of sentences because of the time, please.
Absolutely, I can fulfill that requirement. So, yeah, basically, like I said already, the law is there, the authorities are there. We have to make sure we equip them with the sufficient stuff. We have to make sure we increase digitalization. There are very, very good ideas. There are very good implementations already. They don't function perfectly yet, but we are in a good way. But we have to make sure that we use those resources that we already have, that we use those authorities we already have, and make sure they're equipped with everything they need. And then, again, I'm very, very confident that we can increase processes, that we can speed them up.
Great.
In the shortest way possible, there are enough top-down initiatives. We need solid plans as to how we are going to execute them bottom-up, especially for the Mittelstand and for the policymakers. There is a lot to learn from India when it comes to agility in governance. So there has to be also an exchange there as well, and invest in sustainable integration bottom-up, and not just there are enough initiatives from Bund, but if you look at the Gemeinde and the Commune level, there has to be a lot that has to be done.
Digitize and be much more pragmatic. I mean, look, India has India stack. There's an e-visa. I think Germany can do that as well. We just need to convince the Ministry of the Interior that fingerprints can also be taken as an arrival and you don't need to go to VFS or something like this. It's very simple, and I think we need to shift authority to more decentral level.
Yeah.
That, for example, assessments, for example, the colleagues from Goethe or language assessments, I speak to some of them and they know someone learns just how to sort of to pass a test and not how to pass the language. If someone understands that someone is not passing a test because he doesn't speak or she, then we need to have the ability to let them fail and be much more pragmatic on selecting quality again. I think this would be my part.
Absolutely. Well, first I wanted to say that we might need to bring everything and everybody that is involved in the process together. But doing that work now for a couple of years, I'm aware that most people are already together, the important people. I believe what is getting in the way, and again I'm talking about from the perspective of somebody working in the health insurance, is the topic of data protection laws. I mean, we are in Germany, data protection is a huge issue and it's complicated, it has a reason and it has its good points, but we need to ease the exchange of information between the different parties that are involved in migration to ease the transition to Germany.
There is a joint working group being created under this MMPA between India and Germany. So it is primarily a G2G mechanism. So I would like to suggest the policymakers to involve more stakeholders in that before this G2G mechanism, like Arbeitgeberverbände, Employers Federation, to know the supply demands from them, as well as Gewerkschaften, trade unions, labor rights and exploitation or unethical practices of recruiting people, or the commune and the city administration. Like Berlin, we have a huge accommodation problem there, and processing of visa also takes much time. So that point, and then also NGOs to be included which are working in this labor exploitation or the human trafficking area. So more interest groups involved and getting their feedback to make many policy reforms between the G2G mechanism.
Sure.
I'll say one of the things that we should do is starting at a lot earlier stage, not starting the integration or starting to talk about integration when they land in Germany, but start it at a very early stage. Collaborate with organizations in India where the immigrants or the skilled workers are prepared, because if you do it in India, it becomes preparation. If you get to know it in Germany, it becomes shock. So I think we should avoid that. And secondly, in Germany, I feel we should focus a lot on professional. We talk about language, but we should do a lot more of the profession-specific language. Berufskurse, currently they are mostly in the field of nursing and all, but I feel they need to be there in all the fields, the professional-specific language.
I think that's a fantastic idea, and I don't see any reason why that cannot be done quickly. I think it's, with people like you who are sitting here and who gave speech today, with, all of you put together, I think we can execute this much faster in a, in a very faster pace. But I think for this forum, we need at least 2-3 hours, which we don't have. By saying this, as we conclude this insightful discussion, I actually made a lot of points and a lot of words I have noted. Probably it's also for me to learn something. But I want to just extend my deepest thanks and a lot of appreciation to all of you because of your expertise and thought-provoking points that you made. Let's take this insight from today further out of these rooms as well, and see how we can work towards a more inclusive, a more driven, and maybe a future-ready mobility landscape. With this, I would like to thank each one of you, and thanks the Consulate team, and also to everyone who has participated today. Good.
Esteemed panel of people who are really in the thick of mobility, who are actually the ones bringing people or kind of mobilizing talent from India to Germany, and not just from India to Germany, but globally as well. We have some some people or some of us who've just started and embarked on this journey, and some of us who are veterans. So I'm very excited to be here. And before I continue, maybe a quick round of introductions. We can start maybe with Mohini.
Yeah, hello everyone. Glad to be here, honored to be here with such distinguished set of panelists here. And I came here as a student, so the focus of whatever I'm doing right now is in Indo-German context and focused mainly for students who come for vocational training here in Germany. The focus is mainly language, so let us talk about it later maybe.
So good evening, Krishna Javaji from Kura Personal, running small businesses for a long time in Germany. It's a very excellent event, Mubarak. It's really good to be here. Actually, I've been doing this mobilization for 30 years now. So maybe I'm one of the oldest person doing it here. So we were initially doing all IT. On the request of Frankfurt City Council, we started 5 years back on the nursing. And we made a lot of experience. It's really interesting. I think when I came to Germany, it was totally different. So what is now, it's, all things what are offered, what is seen is really very excellent. And I think a lot of progress is being done. But there's a lot more to be done. There is no doubt on that part. But interesting to see, and I feel I have a lot more points of the course we can talk.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Mubarak ji, thank you for a great workshop. My name is Varun Khosla. I represent Dynamic Staffing Services. And for the last 50 years, we have been in international recruitment. So it's safe to say it's in my blood. And we operate in 6 countries in Europe, including Germany. And I'm a testament to the fact that international recruitment comes with hurdles, but it works. All of these hurdles are manageable.
Thank you so much. My name is Pradeep Ghosh. First of all, thank you so much for the Consul General for organizing such a nice topic workshop. And I think it is core to us as well. Professionally, I'm nuclear engineer based in Darmstadt now, working in international corporations for one of the biggest India's investment outside India in high tech, in forefront technologies, basically on accelerator technologies and also on accelerator science-based applications, including health. I find it very, very lucky to be part of such a experienced colleagues. I'm just 8 years in this system where I'm trying to help bring some barriers down, and I think I will talk about it in the due course of time.
Hi, my name is Kavi, and thank you once again, sir. So I'm the startup here, and among all the veterans here, I'm just 1 year old in Germany, and 3 years maybe in India. So we have got a company in India and also in Germany, and we look forward for taking it ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm going to start off with Varun. I mean, as I told you, as we were speaking yesterday, not many people know you in the community here. So, but I was very, very much intrigued by the journey of a candidate before the candidate actually reaches Europe. You spoke about a very interesting three-pronged approach. So maybe you start off with that.
Absolutely, thank you. So when a candidate completes their vocational training, their technical training, they get absorbed in India with an employer that would seek the skill that they've learned. So that's what we call level one. Here they get to master their craft, they get to work in Indian companies and gain that experience. From there, the one who are a little bit ambitious then take towards level two, which is they go to the Middle East. They work for international companies, working on projects such as Burj Khalifa and Burj Al Arab and all of these magnificent projects you see all across the Middle East. They're predominantly built by Indian workers. And level three is when companies from Europe go and cherry pick these best-in-class workers with 5 to 15 years of experience. They have been homesick already. They have mastered their art. They worked on international level projects. And then they cherry pick them and they bring them to Europe and they work for them in Europe. So that is the three-pronged approach for an Indian worker or even a South Asian worker from where they start and how they come to Germany.
Mohini and Kavi, I'm going to pass this question on to you because you guys are probably not, you all kind of wave off the Middle East part, but how do you see this trend? Is that also the same for the candidates whom you bring here or whom you support to come here? Maybe Kavi, you start or Mohini?
Okay. So as I said, we are focusing mainly on the students where we surpass the level 2 in this case. But students have a very different mentality, I think. The students are young, they are like just 17, 18 years age. They want to come to Germany, they see opportunity here. And our focus is mainly but on the context-based language. So if they want to come here for nursing, the student shouldn't apply for working in a bakery. The student shouldn't apply for working in a food processing industry. If it's nursing, if the interest is there, then we focus on the language part and then on the candidate retention part. So language is always the base, being a language student again. So language has always been the base in whatever work we have been doing with the employers and also with the candidates in India and very, very intensively. So that's actually the base of the workflow.
So if I understand correctly, when you bring in students who are prospective employees, they want to come to Europe, and which is why they are here.
They want to come to Germany specifically, considering whatever is shown in media, obviously regarding the opportunities. The specific focus is on Germany, I would say, and then learning the language. We have in Kerala, maybe Javaji sir will also focus on that. We have gurukuls we call it German gurukuls. Literally there are gurukuls where there are like thousands of students learning German. But then again, the context specific language comes into picture. So we really have to focus, let's say nursing, the Fachsprache, what we say. So that needs to be focused on.
I come from an education background, so I would put it this way: for me, the most important point which we look at any candidate is whether he is having the DNA or the aspiration to be that concerned job role. So if I have to say, I came across this around 2 years back of a butchery program. And that surprised me, what type of Indian qualification would match the butchery qualification job, and something which I had never entered into it. Similarly, if like the nursing thing, which is happening and quite a bit of thing, sometimes I really wonder I'm speaking from the perspective of an educationist. I wonder whether these candidates who are doing the sheep mentality type, okay, Kerala means entire nursing, are they really having the DNA for a care thingy, or they love to take up this type of assignments, Or is it like, okay, fine, we are here to earn money and do whatever that is? Something which gives me a little ouch feeling type thing.
Well, interesting take. And since Krishnaji, you are in this field for a very long time, and especially also in the healthcare sector, and you emphasized always a lot on the quality of the personnel that comes here. Maybe you want to share your experience and your insights on that.
Yes, quality is very important actually. It's first of all, of course, language very, very important because you're dealing with the people in nursing, especially you're dealing with the candidates. You're not dealing with the machines. So you have to take care of the customers, the patients who are there and they have challenges. Maybe you want to talk and you need to write also this berished, so you treat it, you have to write and the next person has to understand. So very important. And the language is what in India, unfortunately, I'm sorry, nothing about our language centers, but people learn there is especially, it's that language is for proofing, just to pass the exam. So that should change actually. That language learning just to pass the exam should change. They should really understand. That's what we are doing. That actually initially we were taking people just like from the other language centers, whatsoever. We've seen that challenge. And we had, we have very good clients and we bought a lot of people already. So, and we've seen the challenge really that people are not able to understand other than that what they learned there. So that's why we started our own language centers with the state governments. Like in Kerala, we have state government, in Andhra, in Tamil Nadu, we have the state governments where they asked us, and we are teaching the real language. And apart from the language, one important thing is, of course, we are talking about, I'm very happy to see that there are a lot of welcome centers, integrations that even Goethe Institute is also helping them to do here. It's very wonderful. But still, actually, it is very important to teach these people during the course itself about the culture, about, about the Fachsprache, what Monika is also saying, because that's very important. They need to understand the Fachsprache and also the culture. We do that, but in our place, we have that things, and that seems to be really good. I go with clients there and see that when they speak to them, they get overwhelmed, actually, really speaking. When the last, just 4 weeks back, I was with some Austrian customers there. They were shocked to see the enthusiasm and the language they're speaking, the motivation they got. They were so impressed. I said, wow, these are the right people. That's what we want. That can be built, actually. That can be built. And we Indians, of course, we say Deutsche Sprache, Schwere Sprache, somebody said, but I don't really believe in it because we Indians, if you travel 300 kilometers further, you speak different language. Yeah. It's not that language is different for us. 300 kilometers driven, it's a different language. So, and every Indian generally speaks 3-4 languages already. So learning one more language, German, similar to English, I don't see a big problem. I myself spoke German language in 1 month time. I must say that part. Of course, not B1, B2 level, but I was able to shop, I was able to move around.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krishnaji. And I'm going to shift the focus a little bit from a language-centric approach to Pradeep, you. FAIR is a major international science player in Darmstadt. And when we speak about the Frankfurt-Rhine-Main region, we also speak about the R&D prowess that this region has, as well as the STEM students that we want. And Germany is again known for engineering, precision, quality. What is your experience in kind of attracting high-tech engineering and either skilled workforce or students or researchers coming to Germany or coming even to your facility for that matter?
Thank you so much for the question. I would shift this question with the framework that we have developed at FAIR. Everybody talks about when, I think on the panel as well, language was a big topic in the last panel as well, where Maguji was coordinating, this was also there. There is this A1, B1, all these levels are there. And we have developed something in our company we call also A1 until C2. And as everybody can tell that there is a B1 level needed to integrate and C1 level needed to get to work. And if you look at A1 stands for awareness. A2 stands for adaptability. B1 stands for belonging. It means if you belong here, then you will understand. The B2 stands for balance of laws, responsibilities. C stands for contribution, where you have contributing to taxes because you are getting the job. And C3 is about continuity, sustainability. So we have at FAIR developed that we do not need everybody to pay tax because we are not hiring everybody. India, like other shareholders, India pays 3.5% of a 3.5 billion euro project. I think some of you do not know it. Please come and watch what we are doing there. But bigger challenge is that Indian students, I think I have been to many places, thanks also to the Consul General and also past, we have found out that Indian students are lacking what was also coming out of the last panel discussion. They don't get to the internship. I think one of the person told in the panel, I forgot now, that they are not taking up internships. Internships are the lowest barrier that they can get, where the language is not a barrier. And I don't think, I don't want to disagree on the language is most important. I think language is not a barrier. The barrier is more that when you come out of the comfort zone, and there research centers like FAIR are playing like a breeding ground, because we do not really need you to speak C1. Because not everybody you will work will be speaking German, because at the science and tech, one can work with coders. I think every company in Germany is not asking for language anymore. You can work remotely, maybe also from India or Malaysia. They don't care. But when it comes to legal systems, I think FAIR and Fraunhofer and Max Planck, all these institutions, I really recommend everybody to look for internships very early. Every vocation. I myself, I have lived in four countries in Europe, lived in 6 cities, in India also 3 cities, because I traveled. So I understand, and I did 16 internships myself, forced by our education system myself. But I think what I learned is I always learned the language, not because I was asked. Also, German was not asked. I did my PhD in Frankfurt, and I learned my C1 level only 5 years ago. It's only because when I did internships, I wanted to interact and wanted to contribute to that group, wanted to be in the peer. And this happens at the peer level as a school. And that's why I would just want to stress internships are the best way. Summer breaks, don't waste your time in going vacations. Just use that time to go on a vacation somewhere else and do the work together with those people. Thank you.
Okay, I think we need to kind of be a little more cognizant of the time. Mohini, I'm coming to you. So in one word, really in one word, what's the biggest misconception about hiring talent across borders? And how are you busting it?
Okay, so before coming to misconception, I just wanted to add one line. There are a lot of hurdles, and we spoke about a lot of hurdles. Aber es funktioniert. How we say it works. At the end of the day, whatever we had, like the small contribution that we are doing, it works at the end of the day. So yes, there are a lot of misconceptions. The first misconception, again, about the language.
One word.
But I won't focus on the language now, but the recognition part, for example. So the recognition, if it's not recognized, then it's difficult to, again, start with work in Germany.
And what is it that you're doing to actually make sure that it gets recognized?
It's a long process, but it works. Okay. It takes a long time, but it works.
Okay. Kavi, I'm also going to kind of throw that question a little to you, but how do you think, I mean, we've spoken about getting talent and getting people here, but how can we kind of foolproof, or is there like a proof of concept where we can also retain talent here? You know, we see a lot of talent coming in, but also leaving. Is there anything that you would like to add?
There is, this question has got a lot of deep meaning, and I feel it's the right forum to speak also about it. Is we have, as an education, we have been placing candidates after training, and in Skill India mission especially, placement was a part of in India and abroad. Overseas recruiters were there earlier, and they had a different perspective altogether of like Randstad or anyone. Today, with this forum and everything, now the entire context of India-German thingy has changed, and things have developed a bit of it. What I look upon is the 3 things which is very important for the futurist. One is, first, very important is matching the job skill, which I just spoke about 2 things, and what she said also about food processing. I have at least one candidate who's coming from a small city in Solapur, where she has come here from with the trust that the company will take care of them. And luckily, she has got also a good job under food production. So it's matching. So I feel 80% of the job is done if the job is matching, because belongingness comes in, the ownership starts coming, there's a motivation to it. So everything works according to that. The second one is the integration, which we have discussed, but I came across a very important word yesterday when I was meeting a client, and she said it's not integration, it's participation. So that really hit me also. Like, it's not a thing, it's participation at dual side, both the sides. So that's something which is also a very important element, which has been discussed quite a thing. But the 5 elements which I come across, which is the stages of the recruitment, the main important is accommodation. See, language can yet be attained, which Mr. Javaji said. The bureaucracy part of the visa, the lawyers must have said something about it. But accommodation is something which is the most important point in this entire thing. Family get-togetherness, as how we can work with the family part of it and how they can get it. And third, if whatever little statistics I've seen is maximum people who we get here, and one of the lady who had approached me for a job thingy, is we are looking at skill level jobs. None of the jobs levels are towards having a visibility to be a leader in this value chain. So all of them are coming to the level of down, and nobody's taken the job of leader. So whether the employers here are looking for that type of jobs, these candidates will grow up the ladder. So that's something which is the most important element for the futuristic of these skills to retain and be longer.
Yeah, like growth is something.
Third very important point, which is for all the service provider, is in our time we used to have something called association of trainers, where we should take care of each of the trainers. And I feel it's time now we have an association of the recruiting and the service providers. I think so he should head it as the senior most person. Somebody who can take care and be into the framework of fair practices, collaboration, because we were competitors then also, and now also we are competitors. But are we able to collaborate on a project? Are we able to work on fair practices, fair pricing, that even the German governments are happy, the companies are happy, the students are happy, the candidates are happy, and even us are getting our dues.
Thank you very much, Kaviji. And I'm going to bring in the biggest competitor we all have, and that's AI. And we speak about how AI is going to take up our jobs. Or at least there's a lot of discussion and debate. And Krishnaji, you actually even run a very successful IT company. So how do you see kind of, the mobility, the talent, and where we are not just kind of filling talent gaps, but we're also kind of making them future ready? How would you address that?
See, AI, I think it's not going to replace everything. AI is a tool. Let that be a tool, actually. So, especially if you look at nursing, I don't think that nurse job can be replaced by a robot. Of course, there are tools, again, which helps the nurse to do the job easily. You have really things which you can wear, and it can help to lift the patient, do all these things. But AI is definitely not going to replace in many of the things which we are doing. But of course, if you say coding, you don't need to. We were doing the coding business before, right? We were bringing all the IT people. So earlier, everything used to be coded. Today, you don't need to code much. ChatGPT will program for you. I agree with you. That's correct. So there are areas definitely where AI, and I think it is a tool, and at the same time, people don't want to work long, right? It's working time is getting less, and people are getting less, working people are less. So it actually comes. I think it's always, the feature was always in the past also, when I think we were talking the other day, when the electricity came, people thought, oh, jobs will go. Later, like computers came, they said jobs will again go. So now AI coming, jobs will go. I don't think jobs will go, but jobs will change. The style, it will change, the people will be changed. But definitely there are enough professions where you definitely, the butcher, I don't think a butcher, it can be done by AI, somebody cutting that and giving, I'm not sure if that goes to that level. So, but in our area, I believe definitely the AI can help as a tool, but for sure not replace anybody.
I think, as my boss actually loves to say, work smart, don't work hard.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much resonates your sentiment here. But maybe Pradeep or Varun, do any of you want to kind of add to that, especially Varun, because you are kind of doing cross mobility across borders. And Germany is a country of automation. So
look, AI is, it's here, it's coming, and what we've seen of AI, it's elementary, So the only way to tackle AI is through education at an early stage of the people who are now about to enter the job market. AI is going to kill a lot of jobs, but if we're prepared, AI will add a lot of jobs. So we have to be ready for the jobs that will come. Unfortunately, there was a statistic, something like 30% of the jobs that are going to exist in 2030 we don't know about today. And that's how rapidly it's going to come. But having said that, to Krishnaji's point here, we're working for a project in Hamburg where our mandate is to bring 400 highly skilled workers. These are welders, pipe fitters, etc. It's a gasification project. AI doesn't play a role here. And AI may not play a role until 2040, like he's saying, in healthcare. So there are going to be skills where AI is going to take a portion of the work away, but then there are another set of skills, especially the craft, like they call it here in Germany. These are going to stay. In fact, in the States, people like locksmiths are making more money than degree holders. Electricians are making more money than IT engineers because the shortage is such. So I think we all have to be prepared, and I think it's a good thing.
Awesome. Pradeep?
So I think I would also underline what he already mentioned. I think the employability is correlated with the skill sets the individual is having. And the individual decides, okay, I want to pursue a professional career, or I want to have, okay, a mediocre level of skills, and I'm just happy with any job. I think Germany is looking for people who have a qualification, which is qualified enough to do the job. I think in one of the panels where I met other colleagues, they mentioned there are 308 qualified jobs. And those are the jobs Indian students, and anybody who's looking for a job, they have to see, do I match to any of them, more of them, and then they have to fit. And coming to the AI, I mean, this is going to be just here automation. I mean, digitization strategy was 2012. The German government brought in. I think they are working on it. I think there is a lot that India and Germany together can work on it. And I think the visa is something there. And I think automation is something where AI will help, bureaucracy. But as if everybody is looking at the cases one by one, then it, of course, is taking time. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I also believe that, these are tools that can only be used to supplement and complement, but not act as competition. So I think I'll take a last round of thoughts from all of you as we wrap up. So I'll start with you, Kavijay, and maybe everybody can just put in your feelers there. But I would like to ask you one key action or mindset shift. We spoke a lot about mindsets and we spoke a lot about challenges, but there's probably one thing on your wish list that you would like to change and which you think is very crucial and essential for strengthening the India-Germany talent corridor.
It's basically the acceptance at both the levels. That's something which I feel we have to put it as mindset. You name it at anything, because let's say like he was talking about the student coming here. Now there was somebody saying that I'm an engineer or a master's in Germany. Would I be interested in taking up a skilled work? So or internship, what he's talking about. I've seen this challenges being in education. Okay, I'm an engineer or I'm a PhD. Why would I take up such a skilled job? And the similar way, the company looking at the point of, okay, fine, I'm making him enter as a skilled worker. Can I take him to a leadership post by budding him up, by investing time, money, energy, making the policy? That's a very important point of the integration or participation, is whether we want to change our policy to suit the outside person to come in. How do I embrace them? Right? It's not only about the festivals, okay? It's also about embracing as a policy.
Okay. Pradeep?
So I would say that it has to be in one word or two words with a hyphen in between, really human-centric. I think if the policy is human-centric, I think we can always reach further. And there it has to be a three-step process all the time. One has to understand the person, their needs. As an employer, you have to treat the person, what I think he mentioned already, accommodation. This is where we are doing. There are 800 people have come in last 7 years with us in my program, and we have provided 800 people the housing. Some people stayed 2 years, some people stayed 3 months. And I think as an employer, one has to take responsibility in helping. I think most of the companies are doing this, and those companies will get the best talent, because I can tell from my experience, I chose always a company where I was provided support for housing, and I believe it that People don't care about how great your mission vision is. If you cannot provide housing the first day, students is switching from one company to another. I switched from Michigan State University, Ohio, and with Finland to Germany, Munich, because GRS GmbH was giving me housing as a state, and this was in Munich. And I can tell you that everybody can agree, and also it's the satisfaction of the parents. Some people are sending their young, if you know your child is going to stay at this address, this is provided by the employer, the sense of satisfaction and confidence in that company is something else. And I think human-centric is something I would focus on. Accommodation is something very crucial that employers have to think about it, take the risk, find it. And the second thing is you have to take about fair, that we have done it like us. Fair means that unpaid internships. Please don't support, don't take it. We have pushed it in our company as well. Every internship, be it mandatory or voluntary, it has to be paid, equal to everybody who has equal qualification. That's it.
Thanks, Pradeep. Varun?
So definitely support services, auxiliary services like accommodation, all are required. But you know, when I come across employers, I think it requires a mindset change. And the employers who seek towards looking for talent from let's say from outside of Europe, do it at a point of desperation. When everything is exhausted and nothing is working, then they'll go and they'll go towards that channel. But I feel that they should run pilot projects. International recruitment is not complicated. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be. Look, we have placed over 500,000 people in 30 countries. So the system works. Here, I feel a lot of employers are a little bit wary that, when the candidates come, how will they adjust? How will they manage? Will they integrate into the society? What about the language? I'm the first to say that there are challenges, but what aren't there challenges with? The challenges with everything. But these are manageable challenges. And today's session was deeply motivating to me because, we operate in multiple countries and I haven't come across a country where government, association, chamber bodies, etc. are taking on the onboarding piece as you guys are over here. Everybody here is talking about the post-arrival piece, and I think that the fact that we're talking about it, we understand its need, and because so many, like-minded people are working on it, I think the biggest problem, which is post-arrival, will easily be managed.
Excellent.
Even for me today, though I'm here so long, really knew many things to see, even go to the institute itself, how they're helping to, integrate people here, setting it here, and the government, how they're doing it's really excellent. I was just thinking, I was just telling Mr. Mubarak that I even don't know many of these things. It's really interesting. Very interesting to see that how we are supporting, it's really great. But I think, there are two things here. First of all, we are talking just here, few people. I'm not sure how many German employers are here, right? So I think the message is not going to the, broad. The awareness is not there. They're doing things, but I'm not sure how many people or German companies, Mittelstand, especially Mittelstand is very reserved. How many of them are aware of this, right? These opportunities, these possibilities are there. How can be helped? So that's, I think, very, very important aspect maybe which we can take up and see like how we can inform the people what possibilities are there, what opportunities are there, how can they be supported? Because I think that is, if they know, because they're all afraid, especially Germans are still, they're reserved. I don't know if he comes, how it will be, what will be, how it works. They're very doubtful about it. So, but I think if we inform them, see these are challenges like Kaviji is saying, maybe association or something, whatever it is, if that can be done and make those people, but ultimately they are the people who needs, right? They are the people who we need the employees, and so they need to be aware what all possibilities are, what are there. That should be important to be done. If we can tell what all things can be done, how we can organize. I'm sure there are enough people today having, interest to bring people, do something. But from the customer side, and the real customers, I think that's the message has to go. That would be a great thing. And the another point, what I would say is, especially from India, one is, of course, we spoke all the problems. In our case especially, we have some places candidates sitting for 6 months, 6+ months waiting for the Anarchy. I know this challenge, that challenge, even the consulates have problems. And I spoke to the consul generals. They said, Chennai, I was speaking to the consul, she said, listen, I have from 3 years, 5 years, even before, same staff, same everything, and see the number of applications I have to process now. What do you expect? So that's the same office, their office is same, people are same. I think you also mentioned that part. So, but the number of multiple times it's increased. So that is actually a challenge to really get that thing. Even the language centers, to get an certification, you have to do B2 exam. We are really, my teams gets up early morning, 5 o'clock, when that slot opens. Indu is there, she knows that part. Get up 5 o'clock and try to get the slot. And sometimes they're flying from Cochin and Chennai to Delhi, Calcutta, etc. to get the thing. I think these are challenges which has to be solved. It's really great that we are helping them once they're here. That's wonderful. Accommodation, I agree, all these things. But I think that it's important if we can support them there. And the third important thing which I say is very important. Actually, I suggested Andhra Pradesh government to integrate German language in the nursing college itself. I'm happy to say that they called me back and said, GO is passed, and I was there for the opening. So it's like, so we suggested them and they integrated that. See, the interest from the Indian side is really high. It's huge. So it's good if we can get that also first integrate here. And next point is,
one mindset.
Yeah, just one line. So one important thing, this is a very important thing I want to say. See, we are talking more on G2G projects, but that's not enough. I know Triple Win, many other things I know. G2G, sorry to say that nothing about the government, it takes time. G2B is somewhere I would really suggest it should work. That's better to far results, that's the best way.
I think, Krishnaji, that also falls a little bit on people like us to make sure that the G2G projects and the policies work. So I think the onus also lies a bit on us.
Absolutely.
But Mohini, without further ado, your last words.
Just one point to add. I think everyone has given excellent points. I just wanted to say one aspect which was important here is everyone working in the recruiting ecosystem must have a reality check and no false hopes given to anyone working in the ecosystem, be it the Indian partners or the German partners, because we see that happening with a lot of students as well, or also with the German employers as well. So what happens is, nothing against the Indian mentality, but we have this jugaad kind of mentality where we say, kar denge, ho jayega, but that doesn't work. It's not ho jayega. It takes efforts from both the ends and false hopes again. Even to the Germans, whenever I speak with the German employers, I never say B2 is B2. B2 is always something between A2 or B1, because having the certificate in the hand and having a reality check saying B2 certificate is certificate, but you need to understand they're still not, this is nicht so weit. Like, you just have to understand that.
So I think transparency
transparency
is
and
of
very,
essence.
very, very clear transparency with the employers, with the students, and also with the parents. Like all the parties involved in the recruitment ecosystem, whoever they are.
Yeah, just one word in last is basically right now we are working on a demand and based thing like from the Germany. I'm waiting for the chance where it will become the supply side of them. We become more powerful. So that will make a difference to all what we have said just now, and then the things will change the table, and we are all working for the future of global work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with words like acceptance, human-centric, acknowledgement, awareness, reality, I think it's time for all of us to also take the plunge. Thank you so much for your excellent insights, inputs, and thank you to the audience for patiently being with us for half an hour. Thank you very much, and thank you to my esteemed panelists for being here. Thank you.